Welcome to the Writer Groupie Podcast. I'm Kim Smith, the writing guru, bringing you discussions, insights, and insider details on planning, producing, promoting, and profiting as a writer. This is a podcast by writers for writers. You can find out more about Writer Groupie at www.writergroupie.net. And here's the next episode of Writer Groupie. And welcome everybody to episode 52 of Writer Groupie. 52 episodes, you guys. I'm really excited about that because aside from my flyby episodes, that means we've done 1 year's worth of episodes on Writer Groupie, and that's a big accomplishment. Yay, it really truly is. And so tonight I just want to tell you that if you haven't been checking the audio feed, if you're not listening to the audio only podcast that accompanies this blog post and this video, go out and check it out because I do special informative things on those audio feeds. I do kind of like my own little brand of an introduction, and I tell you stuff that's coming up with the show and stuff that's coming up with me and how you can find this and so forth and so on. So special stuff in the audio feed. Go get it. Now, tonight my guest is Cynthia Vespia, aka the original Cyn, which I think is a fantastic moniker. She's an author of supernatural suspense and dark fantasy, and she's been nominated for a Best in Series award for her fantasy trilogy, Demon Hunter. Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on Writer Groupie.
Thanks for having me, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited.
That original Cyn is actually a little play on words. I don't know if everybody gets it, but if you can see my tattoo here with the snake and the apple, it's a whole Adam and Eve play off. And of course, it's a spin off of my name. So
I just think it's awesome. You can do so many different things with that. That's fantastic. Writers are so creative. We come up with inventive and different things pretty much on an hourly basis some days. So I can imagine what you were thinking when you came up with that one. You're probably going, oh my goodness, I don't even have to work for a brand.
Well, yeah, and then I branded myself. What happened was, I had the logo. You know how it's part of my my design services. So I had T-shirts made up, and I was wearing them around, and people started calling me Original Cyn. So I thought to myself, now what if I had that on me all the time? And I'm not averse to tattoos, so that's how that was born.
I'm telling you, we need to get into that too. I want to talk about your graphics company, your creative services side. You're an author, you're a video editor, you're a graphics designer. Is there anything you don't do?
I don't sing or dance. Well, that's not true. I've done karaoke, but no, I like to have a full toolbox full of skills. I'm always trying to learn something new. I just took up painting recently. That's more of a hobby, but especially in this industry, it's very good to be able to cut out the middleman if you can. And I also like helping other authors in that respect because I see a lot of cover artists come down the pike through, A, they're not very good, I'm going to be honest. And two, they're also very expensive for being not very good. And we're all on a limited budget, we're indie authors, so I try to give you the best quality product and at the same time not, have you pulling the change out of your pockets. So.
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, I agree. Cover art can be very expensive, but don't you think that that's one of the things that can really help a breakout author to stand above the crowd?
Absolutely. You know the age-old adage, don't judge a book by its cover. Unfortunately, we all do. And that's whether it's people or books. But, I mean, to be honest with you, if you're in a bookstore or you're even browsing online and you see a cover, it's going to jump out at you, or you're going to, take a back. The worst thing that can happen is it glosses right over your eyes. You don't even see it. So with the majority of my covers, with the Demon Hunter, and here's the Demon Huntress right here, they've been through a lot of different changes. I started with different images when I first was self-publishing, and it's been, a process where I finally got to the place where I know what to put where as far as placement, as far as design, not too much, not too little, to get the effect that I'm looking for. And if you'll also notice, this is a fantasy novel. that's a specific, you know, genre. You have to get those elements across. So there's a lot of little things that go into it.
Yeah, and you know, typography to me is probably one of the most important things, and it is the thing I struggle with the absolute most, because too much is too much, too little is too little, and in today's world of thumbnail graphics, you gotta have something somebody can read. If they can't even read the title, they're gonna go, "Weh, next."
That's a very important point that you just put out there, because they're about that big on the computer screen. You got to be able to read that and your name. So you got to think about that in terms of designs. Like I said, a lot of different little things. This specific font right here for Demon Hunter, and it's throughout my whole series, my other publisher actually came up with that. So I just went along with that theme, because in a series, you want everything to stand, you know, together, so that you know that it's part of that same series.
Yeah, it's kind of branding the series when there's similarities in the design, the typography, and those kinds of things. And so, how did you get started doing all that stuff? I mean, I just kind of fell into it. I decided I wanted to do my own thing with design whenever I decided to start self-publishing. And so, you know.
Once upon a time, I'll tell you a story. I honestly wanted to go to art school back in the day, and my dream was to work for Disney. Now, for whatever reason, that didn't happen, but I've always been interested in various facets of my creative side, and writing being at the forefront of that. But the design and so forth is also a love of mine, and I just got really good at Photoshop. The reason I went into doing the graphics work for novels and so forth, my novels, Demon Hunter, as you mentioned earlier, with the award-winning trilogy, I got the rights back from my publisher. And what I wanted to do a print version, because when they were originally released, they were only ebooks. So I took them into my hands, and that's when I first ventured out into really, really self-publishing, because I wanted a very specific way to present those novels. And it turned out pretty good, because I got nominated for Best in Series, and now with Demon Huntress is continuing that saga. So that's really where that all got started, and then, like I said, from there it just kind of spun off to help other indie authors with, you know, book covers, swag, posters, videos, all of it.
Now, you're so multi-talented. What would you prefer people to know you as? Would you prefer them to know you as, you know, the author? Are you more into the design? Are you more into the video? What do you do the most that really gets your, you know, wagons rolling?
Yeah, that's where I kind of, when you get a lot of things going on at the same time, or you're a multi-genre author, it kind of hinders you at the same time, because you don't want to be spread out too much, which is why I recently consolidated my website. It's all under just one umbrella now. It's cynthiavespia.com. I used to have them both separate, but the first thing I want you to notice is that, A, I'm an author. I'm an author too, you know? So I write, that's my first love, and my passion is to create stories and places to put these characters. But then on the flip side, within that web umbrella, there's the creative side, and then beyond that, I'm a fitness enthusiast, so a lot of different things.
Man, well, I ain't mad at you, as they say. I do a lot of that myself. My husband and I have our own video production company, so I'm definitely in on that side of it as well. But tell us about your writing life. Tell us about the Demon Hunter series. Is that what it's called, the Demon Hunter series?
They're both trilogies, so in a way, yeah, they are a series now, because Demon Huntress did come out, and this is actually part 1 of Demon Huntress. Part 2 just came out, so I don't have the cover with me, but you can find it online. Demon Hunter, the titles go The Chosen One, Seek and Destroy, Hero's Call, and then with Huntress it goes from there, and it's basically an all-in-the-family sort of a thing, where they find out they're the last in the line of demon hunters. So it's kind of a hero-esque journey, and it was my first foray into like a really dark fantasy type of a world, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I think that's why it's been revered so much, and people have taken with it.
Wow. And it's supernatural, kind of dark fantasy, suspense thrillerish. It's got an edge to it. It sounds like something I would really enjoy reading, so I can't wait to get. What would you recommend the first book? Just the first book in the trilogy, the first trilogy?
The first one, well, I'll say this. The Demon Huntress stands alone from the Demon Hunter. So you can start with that one, or you can start at the very beginning and start with Demon Hunter, the Chosen One. I also, the entire trilogy of Demon Hunter is together in one saga, I call it. But that's only available in print right now. So if you're an ebook enthusiast, the Chosen One, print, you can go with the whole saga.
Wow, that's exciting. Now, tell me something about a continuing series. Like you started it with the first trilogy, and now you have the second kind. But they're all still affiliated. They all still fit under the same umbrella, as it were. How do you do that and do it effectively from book to book so that anybody could basically pick up anywhere in the middle and, they would still be just as entertained as the person who started from the front? Because I'm terrible about starting in the very first book and the very first whatever. I want to start at the beginning and go all the way down.
Right. And that's a really good question. What I've been noticing, because I am a student of my craft, I've been doing this for almost a decade. And I was learning that, recently the series has become one of the popular things because people like to become invested in the characters and they want to follow them from place to place and adventure to adventure. And you see stuff like Game of Thrones, that's why it's so popular, or Walking Dead, or what have you. So it's very important to, have those characters that they love and enjoy, and there has to be one link, even if it's just one person throughout each story, or you mix it up. And I have the daughter now of the Demon Hunters, but she's still linked to the first one. I also find it's important that each of the books in and of themselves can be standalone. So if you do start, with the second one or whatever, you're not going to be too lost, because you do maybe a little bit of a wrap up or a flashback within the novel, tying everything together, and then that also makes the reader say, oh wait, I want to go and read that first one, or I want to go back and read that first trilogy. So
you would hope that the second and the consecutive books would make them want to say, oh, I got to go and read that first book now. You would like for them to say that about any place that they're at in your series is, oh my gosh, I want to know what happened back then, and so they go back or whatever. So that's great. That's great. I'm working on a series myself, a mystery series, and I just noticed when I was working, I'm about a quarter of the way through the fourth book in the series, and I just noticed that this book takes place outside of the setting of the series. Not a good plan. So that's going to be a big revision, is what all these things that are happening, I got to move this back to the town, because the town is as much a character in this series as anything. But I'm very fortunate that I'm maturing as a writer enough to say, oh, now I know what's wrong with it.
That's true. I mean, if you can pinpoint what, if it's just not working out right and you found out what that sticking point was, you can go in and fix it. And now I'm kind of in the same boat with you, because I'm working on 2 different new series that, notwithstanding the trilogies that I already did, yes, they're a series, but they also standalone trilogies. So doing 3 books as opposed to doing a 7-book series is a little bit different. So this time what I've done is, and I don't plot a lot. I do like little snippets of what I want to happen. I'll do a full character setup, but this time, just to make sure that everything's linked throughout the series, I've written down a little bit more extensively how this is going to play out, and I keep having to go back in and tweak it, because I'm like, this is just not right, or I can add a little bit here, but it's kind of, both of them, they're 2 separate animals, but it's one of the biggest things I've taken on in a long time, so I'm a little excited about it. I actually just mailed out the manuscripts today to publishers, so
Oh yeah, great. That's awesome. And so, it sounds like you're just a really prolific person. You're really busy. So, something that a lot of people ask is, where do you find the time? Where do you, Cynthia Vespia, find the time to write multi-series, to do a book trailer for someone, to design the cover art for your own work? I mean, all the facets. And okay, now don't forget, we have to market this stuff too. Where do you find the time?
There's a whiteboard right next to me with everything written down on it for the day. No, but I digress. That's the thing. You have to find the time. You have to make things happen. You can't just sit around and have your muse lead you. I try to write at the same time every day. If nothing more, I say get an hour in, you know, at least. It's the marketing that trips me up, though, Cam. I mean, I don't know, you know, what else to try. Everything under the sun I've done, and you go and you read these books in the shop, and it's all geared towards nonfiction. And I'm like, that's great, but what about us fiction writers? So look out for my first craft book coming out pretty soon. I'm going to write something about that. But yeah, you really just have to. There's 24 hours in the day. You can sleep when you're dead. How about that?
Hey, I say that a lot. I do. You know, and I would love it some days if I could be cloned, just so that I could get everything done in a day that needs to be done. But it's just not going to happen. And what worries me about that is, for a lot of authors, it's happened to me, but I've figured it out, but maybe it's happened for you also, is that you get this sense of overwhelm to the point where you can't do anything. I just kind of shut down. And at that point, you know, what do you do to kind of get yourself going again when you've got so many irons in the fire that you really don't even know which one to do anymore. You're working so hard all the time. You're just going 90 to nothing all the time.
Oh gosh, that's happened to me a lot because one of the things is I am a one-woman ship here. I don't have a lot of backup behind me. I'm doing everything myself, and I mean everything. So yeah, I get overwhelmed a lot. What I do to try to keep it mellow, I work out a lot. Other than that, I will Netflix binge till the cows come home because I need to just, you know, shut the batteries down sometime and just veg out and do nothing just to recharge. And, you know, you got to understand that that's okay. It's okay to take some time for yourself, and then you're not going to stay down. You just need that minute to get your energies back up and then go back and, you know, fight it strong.
And I also want to add on that, when we say that it's okay for however long it takes.
Yeah.
You know, some people are like, okay, well, I'm going to have my little day, and then I'm going to be right back at it. No, sometimes you need more than a day. Sometimes you need a weekend. Sometimes you need a week. Sometimes it's 2 weeks. Whatever it is for you. Now, you don't want to endlessly be on hiatus from your business and from your writing, but it's okay to take a break, to take a step back. I'm telling you, your writing will benefit from you stepping away from it for a hot little while. And I'm like you, Cynthia. I binge watch Netflix. I am so mad they took off Doctor Who. I am just so mad.
Revisit some old stuff. I just sat through binge watching of Cheers, and I forgot how great that show was. What a great duo that Ted Danson and Shelley Long were. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, they were. I have actually discovered the new Sherlock Holmes with the young guy with Brandon Cumberbatch.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm like, okay, maybe I will find a replacement for Doctor Who. I don't know about this, but we can try.
And, you know, the good thing about that is I watch a lot of TV, and I will get ideas. To be honest with you, the last couple of novels that I got was from sparks of ideas from watching other movies and TV. I was like, you know what? I could do that better.
Well, there you go. There you go, guys. It's okay to take a break from your writing and from your stuff for just a little while to recharge your batteries and refill the well. Sometimes you do watch a program or you read a book and there's something in it that just all of a sudden flashes go off in your head. The clouds lift, the angels sing, and you're right back at it again. So it's totally okay. I'm with that. Okay, so now let's go back to talking about the original Cyn Creative Services. Now, what all do you do in your business?
Again, it's like it says in the title, Creative Services. So what it is, it's an I don't want to say too much on the advertising side. I will create for you advertising materials. It's up to you then for it to go out and use those materials. But I do everything from cover design, posters, business cards, logos, websites, video editing, and if you're watching this and you're not an author and you're thinking, I can't use any of that stuff, if you're in your own business, yes, you can. So
yes, you can.
I implore you to check out my website, again, CynthiaVespia.com, and see a lot of the sample work that I have up there. And if you don't see exactly what you're looking for, feel free to contact me. My email is linked up to the website. And again, you know, I do fair prices for good work. And basically, I'm just trying to help you make your business better.
That's fabulous. And of course, now I'm in video production. I have a good idea of what all goes into that. But people don't realize how important video can be for them in their author business. Facebook has started having these neat little short clip-it kind of videos in their advertising. I've seen several of them. I believe Lori Foster did one for one of her books not long ago. It was just awesome. And so tell me a little bit about what a video editor does.
For me, it can be anything from a book trailer or commercial to if you do an actor reel, if you want to do like a video for somebody's wedding or school graduation, or even a business presentation. I like doing video editing very much. It's a lot of fun to take a snippet of music and then put the video to the wording that's in the lyrics. That's the way that I like to do it. But as far as for books themselves, getting that right specific audio for the tone and theme of your novel, you know, presented with some strong imagery, yeah, that's absolutely going to help sell your book. And, you know, you keep it short and sweet because everyone's got ADD, but that's the beauty of video because they're not going to sit there and read everything, you know. But if you can catch their attention with, I like to call them commercials or, you know, trailers that you see in the movies. I didn't coin that phrase. I just want to be perfectly clear. But a good friend of mine did. So anyway, so the imagery is what's going to grab them and say, oh, what's that about? You know, maybe I should read that book.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, it takes a talented person to be able to take images and put them with text, or take text and put them with images and then put it all in a movie format. In my opinion, video's always been the format that has to elicit an emotional response. That's what video's for, in my opinion. If you can elicit an emotional response from the audience who is viewing that video, and I mean video whatever you've created, you've accomplished every goal you set out to win. And so, like I was saying, you know, Facebook advertising now, you can do these little videos and stuff. Do you provide the art, or does the client provide the art?
Either way. I will take a discount. I will give you a discount if you provide your own art because it's time consuming to go and find the imagery, and you're basically paying me for my time and my artistic vision of it. So if you can help me out with the time part of it, I will reward you with a 10% discount. But otherwise, people will present ideas to me, or they give me a synopsis of the book, and I will go and I will find images and the music to set it to.
Wow. You are just a handy person to know. Like I said, I'm curious to know what you don't do. It sounds like you just do everything, and you stay awfully busy in the process also. So, what's up next for you? What have you got in the works so far as your writing is concerned and your series?
Oh, I have a full plate. Like I said, I'm working on 2 different series. One of them is a dystopian thriller type, which honestly surprised me because it has elements of sci-fi in it, which I don't write, but apparently I do.
You never know.
Well, they've called me multi-genre author because I weave romance into horror and, you know, adventure into comedy, all those kinds of things. So I like to have varied elements so that it's a nice crossover appeal for all readers. So I try not to pigeonhole myself into one specific genre, but I am leaning more towards like the paranormal and superheroes right now is my next big thing. I don't want to give too much away for that series, but I am coming up with my own superhero. So
that's awesome.
I'm hoping that one takes because, you know, that's gained in tremendous popularity. I don't have to tell you that, but what's really growing now is the female portion of it. You know, the girls are really getting behind it. The chicks are really starting to dig it. You know, you got the strong female empowerment with the new Star Wars or some of the programs that are on TV these days. So I think it's the perfect time to champion that.
I agree. And I'll be excited to watch your meteor fly across the sky on that one, because I think that one's going to take you a long way.
From your lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, we're getting down toward the end of the show already, which just breaks my heart because I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
At this time, I kind of like to get my guests to share their thoughts for an aspiring author. What is it, something that you wish someone had told you when you were first starting out that might have, saved you time or prevented a heartbreak or, those kinds of things?
If only I could go back in time and tell myself these little nuggets of wisdom. But I've learned a lot of different things over the years, and I will give you a couple right now. One of them is keep your butt in the chair, which don't let the procrastination or the distraction, especially in this day and age, you can be distracted from everything. So I would shut down, go where you can get the work done. And also write for the wastebasket. And what I mean by that is everybody puts so much onus on that first draft has to be perfect, so they never finish it. Now, if you're going into it thinking, I'm going to edit this anyway, half of this is going to wind up in the trash, the wastebasket, it takes the pressure off of it a little bit, Other than that, the last one is treat your writing as a business. And this is if you want to be a writer, you want to write for a living, it's a business like anything else. And that's where the other thing comes into play with the marketing material. So it goes hand in hand. Now, if you just have a book in your head that you want to write for family and friends or what have you, do it. Because, if there's a book you want to read that hasn't been written, guess who has to write it? You do.
Yes, that's great advice. Great advice. All of that is. And my favorite one has to be that writing for the garbage can, because if we would just give ourselves a break, we would get a lot more done. We're just the hardest and most worst critic of our own work of anybody out there. So if we can make the cut from ourselves, we don't have much to worry about what's out in the world, because we are our worst critic.
Yeah, artists always are. And we don't even take compliments well.
I also wanted to ask you, because I just really thought about it, and you've been doing this for some time. What are some of your marketing tips? What are you doing to market your work that you think is successful right now? Because I'm telling you, I do the same stuff pretty much all the time. And I don't know whether it's being successful or not, because there's constant flux in the industry right now.
No, I'm not a marketing genius by any manner. I've just tried a lot of different things from a lot of what I've seen other people do, what I think is going to be a good idea. I'm talking to you right now as part of that marketing procedure, because get your face out there. People want to know about you. It's that kind of a world that we live in, that they're very curious who wrote that book. So get out there, press the flesh. I love doing conventions. I love them, because I get to go out there and I get to talk to people face to face. And the last one that I was at, I had a guy buy my book. The very next day, he comes back and tells me how much he loved it and is quoting lines from it. So, that is why I write. But also, I don't know. It depends what genre you write. It depends what topic you're writing. It depends if the stars are aligned. I really have no idea. A lot of these things where they say, overnight success, that's a bunch of bull. These people have been writing for a long time, and they just happen to be, like I said, everything lined up. It's the same thing as, a great series, like I was talking earlier with the Cheers. Everything lined up, you had the great chemistry, the script, the, storyline, the actors. It's the same thing with books, but, you say you don't know if it's working or not. Just stay consistent with it. That's all I can tell you, because you never know when that next thing is going to turn the corner, and then you will make it. Like I said, people know me from Original Sin. If you see the snake in the apple, it's because it's in your face all the time. It is branding, it is marketing. So again, if you don't have those little things, like come up with a great tagline. That's the first thing for you. Pick your genre, so people know you. They have your name synonymous with what you want it to be synonymous with.
Good advice. Great advice.
That was better advice than I thought I had.
Well, you're like me, it's almost like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, and sometimes nothing sticks, and then you feel like, well, heck, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to go write another book. And to be honest, I think sometimes that might be the best, thing that you can do as a writer, is just write another book. You'd be amazed at how many people will show up to read the second one, didn't have a clue about the first one, but by George, when they finish that second one, they're going, I like that, let me go get the other one.
Exactly, and that wraps back into the series because you've got the characters that they're falling in love with. So, yes, write the next book, but at the same time, don't abandon that book that you did write. You got to still keep nurturing it. So it's a big circle.
Yeah. Oh boy, is it ever. Well, listen, Cynthia, it has been fantastic having you on Writer Group E on episode 52. And, I always invite my guests to come back. You're welcome to come back anytime. Maybe when you get the next series rolling and you need a little boost and you want to just come and tell people about it, give me a call because I'd love to have you come back on anytime.
Absolutely. That would be great. I've enjoyed myself.
It has been fun, fun, fun. And I'm going to be following you around the internet, and I want you to tell everybody out there where they can find you also.
You can find me on all the social media channels. So I am on Facebook under /author Cynthia Vespia. Or if you find my personal page, go ahead and friend request me. I don't discriminate. I am on Twitter under Sinful Charm, YouTube under Sinful Charm. That's CYNFULCHARM. And also, everything's umbrellaed under my website, CynthiaVespia.com, which I'm sure is going to appear right here at the bottom, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you guys, if you haven't gone out and subscribed to the Writer Group E YouTube channel, go do that so that you don't miss any of these episodes. And the iTunes channel also, you can become a follower of us there. And you want to be a part of the Writer Group E episode 53 coming up next. Cynthia, thanks again. I'll be chatting with you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Writer Group E. For booking information, show notes, and more, visit writergroupie.net.